All right, get ready for a deep dive into the world of AI. We're talking about DeepSeek, this Chinese AI company that's making a lot of noise, and what that means for giants like NVIDIA. Plus, we'll explore how AI policy is changing, especially here in the U.S. under President Trump, and we'll compare how the U.S. and the EU are approaching AI regulation, which is pretty different. It's a lot to cover, so let's jump in.
Yeah, this is a really interesting time for AI. The arrival of DeepSeek has really shaken things up, especially for the companies that were pretty comfy at the top.
Definitely. So we've got this Chinese startup, DeepSeek, and they just launched a free AI assistant. It uses their DeepSeek V3 model, and they're claiming it can compete with, even beat, the big AI models from the US. And they're doing it for way less money.
And it's not just hype. Their chatbot went straight to #1 on the Apple App Store here in the US. It even passed OpenAI's ChatGPT, which was a huge deal when it first launched. But this is about more than just popularity. This is about what it means for the big players in the industry.
Exactly. Like NVIDIA, who pretty much had the market cornered on AI chips. Didn't their value plummet when DeepSeek came on the scene?
Oh yeah, it was a major event for them. Nvidia's market cap, it dropped by almost $600 billion in a single day. That's the biggest single day drop for any US company ever. And it didn't stop there. The impact spread to the whole AI supply chain. It hit companies like Advantis and Tokyo Electron over in Japan, and even giants here in the US like Broadcom, Microsoft, and Google's parent company, Alphabet.
Wow, $600 billion. That really shows how disruptive this is. It's like a wake-up call, not just for U.S. tech, but for anyone who thinks they've got the future of AI figured out.
Absolutely. And it makes you question the strategies that some were relying on. Like, the US has these export controls, right? They're supposed to limit China's access to the advanced chips needed for AI. But then you have DeepSeek researchers saying they used NVIDIA's H800 chips for training, and they did it for under $6 million.
So they got what they needed, despite the controls, and they developed a top-tier model at a crazy low price. That has to make people rethink things.
It definitely has. There's been debate about the actual numbers, sure. But DeepSeek's success, it shows potential weaknesses in these strategies. And it's gotten the attention of some big names, including former President Trump, who's back in the White House.
Right, and his approach to AI is very different compared to the last administration. He's all about American dominance in AI.
It's striking how different his approach is from the previous focus on safety and regulation. Trump has made it very clear that he sees AI as crucial for national security and economic competition.
He didn't waste any time showing that, did he? On his first day back, he canceled Biden's executive order on AI, the one about safe and ethical AI development.
Yeah, that was a clear signal of his priorities. And it's not just about rolling back regulations. Trump is pushing for massive investment in AI infrastructure. He announced a $500 billion project led by SoftBank and OpenAI to build AI infrastructure here in the U.S. It's a direct response to DeepSeek. It shows he's serious about not letting the U.S. fall behind in AI.
That's a huge investment. It sounds like he sees this as a fight for the future of tech, and he's going all in. But what about DeepSeek's own issues? They've had cyber attacks and website crashes since they got big.
That's true. It is kind of ironic, isn't it? This company develops this amazing AI model for way cheaper than anyone else, and they're still dealing with the same vulnerabilities as everyone else. They even had to limit new signups temporarily because of these problems.
Shows that even with a lean approach, the AI landscape is full of challenges. Speaking of challenges, let's talk about how Trump's return is changing U.S. AI policy.
His America First AI approach is a big change from the previous administration. He's putting national security and economic competition first, even if it means safety and ethics take a backseat.
And the tech industry seems to have his ear, don't you think? I mean, on his inauguration day, he met with Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and Mark Zuckerberg, and he gave them the best seats in the House. Seems like he's showing that the tech industry has a lot of influence now.
Yes, those meetings, and especially where they sat, sent a clear message about who's got the power now. It fits with his whole AI strategy, which seems to be about removing roadblocks to American innovation, even if it means less regulation and oversight.
So full speed ahead for AI development in the U.S., with the goal being to win the global AI race. But what about user safety and ethics? Are those being pushed aside?
That's a question a lot of people are asking, and it's a valid concern. The fact that he got rid of the AI safety measures put in place by the previous administration, it raises questions about the risks of developing AI without any checks and balances.
And his new executive order removing barriers to American leadership in artificial intelligence reflects that, doesn't it? It's all about American dominance in AI, not so much about the potential downsides.
Right. It calls for an AI action plan to be done in 180 days, led by his tech advisors. It also says federal agencies have to review and maybe even stop anything done under the old AI policies. If it clashes with Trump's goal of American AI dominance, it's a bold move and it's causing a lot of uncertainty.
I bet. The order itself is pretty vague, isn't it? It doesn't say which policies are being canceled, which makes it even harder to know what the impact will be. And this whole thing about getting rid of ideological bias from AI systems is interesting. What do you think that means?
Hard to say for sure what it'll mean in practice,
Yeah.
but it does suggest a more hands-off approach to regulation. And people have mixed feelings about that. Some experts think it's just continuing the trend of putting AI policy on hold, while others see it as setting the stage for American AI leadership, especially with China's AI getting stronger.
So we'll have to wait and see. But it's clear Trump's AI approach is going to be very different. It's very pro-industry, America first. And it's going to have a big impact on the whole AI world. Speaking of different approaches, let's talk about what's happening over in the EU. They seem to be going in a very different direction with AI regulation.
The difference between the US and the EU is huge. While the US under Trump is focused on innovation and economic competition, the EU is being much more cautious. They're taking a safety-first approach. It's creating a fascinating dynamic in the global AI landscape.
The EU's new Artificial Intelligence Act is a perfect example. It's a whole set of rules meant to ensure user safety, transparency, and accountability in AI systems. It became law last summer and is already affecting how AI is developed and used in the EU.
The Act takes what's called a risk-based approach to AI regulation, meaning how much scrutiny and regulation an AI system gets depends on how risky it is to users' fundamental rights. So low-risk AI, it doesn't get much regulation. But high-risk AI, like the kind used in healthcare or law enforcement, is subject to much stricter controls. It's a totally different philosophy from the US, where the focus seems to be on getting AI products out there as fast as possible.
So we've got this split developing. The EU is being cautious and regulated, and the US is pushing for fast innovation, even if it means more risk. What are the implications of this? Could it lead to a fragmented AI landscape where systems from one place don't work in another?
That's a real possibility, and a lot of experts are worried about it. If the US and EU end up with very different standards for AI, it could create big obstacles to trade and collaboration. Companies might have to make different versions of their AI for different markets, which would be expensive and complicated.
And it's not just about technical compatibility, right? It's also about ethics.
Mm.
The EU is clearly putting a lot of emphasis on making sure AI respects human rights and values. That doesn't seem to be a big priority in the US under the current administration.
That's a key difference. It highlights the bigger challenge of how to govern AI globally. How do we make sure AI is developed and used responsibly when different countries have different priorities and values? We're only just starting to grapple with that question.
It's a complicated issue, for sure. And it's happening against a backdrop of growing geopolitical competition in AI. It's not just about who has the best tech anymore. It's about national pride, economic power, even military strength.
Yeah, AI is increasingly seen as a strategic asset, the key to being dominant in the 21st century. And the competition is heating up. The US might be ahead in AI research and investment now, but China is catching up fast, and DeepSeek is a prime example.
It's a challenge to the established order, and it's making everyone rethink their strategies. It's not just about who can develop the most advanced AI. It's about who sets the standards, who makes the rules. And that's where the difference between the US and EU becomes even more important.
Exactly. It's not just about who gets there first. It's about who gets to define what responsible AI means. And that battle is just getting started. We're definitely in the middle of this AI revolution. The US and China are going head to head, and the EU is doing its own thing. But beyond all the headlines and power struggles, what does this mean for everyday people? That's what we need to be thinking about.
It's easy to get lost in the tech stuff and the geopolitical maneuvering. You're right, we got to zoom out and look at the big picture. What does this AI revolution mean for society, for our lives, our jobs, our future?
One thing that worries a lot of people is jobs. And it's understandable. We're already seeing AI and automation change how work is done. And that's only going to speed up. It's natural to be concerned about whether machines will replace our jobs.
Yeah, that's a real worry. We should be talking about that openly and honestly.
Hmm.
But it's not just a simple case of robots taking over, is it? It's more complicated than that.
You're right. It's not about machines completely replacing humans. It's more about how work is changing. AI will probably enhance a lot of jobs, make us more efficient and productive. It's about figuring out how humans and AI can work together, using each other's strengths.
So it's not about being scared of AI. It's about learning how to adapt and work with it. What skills are going to be important in this new world of work? What should people focus on to stay ahead?
Being adaptable and creative will be crucial. The jobs of tomorrow might not even exist yet, so being able to learn new things quickly, to think critically, and solve problems, and to come up with new solutions, that'll be in high demand. Technical skills will still be important, of course, but they'll need to go hand in hand with these human abilities.
So it's not just about coding anymore. It's about critical thinking, adapting to new situations, being creative. Sounds like our education system needs a major upgrade to get people ready for this.
Absolutely. We need to move away from that traditional model of education, where you learn a bunch of skills for one job and then you're good for life. The future of work requires lifelong learning. We need to give people the tools and the mindset to keep learning, adapting, and changing throughout their careers.
Big change, but one we got to embrace. Besides work, what other societal impacts should we consider? What are the bigger implications of this AI revolution?
One thing that worries me is the potential for AI to make existing inequalities worse. If we're not careful, AI could end up giving more wealth and power to a few, and leaving a lot of people behind.
That's concerning. How could that happen? How could AI widen the gap between the rich and the poor?
Imagine this. The benefits of AI, like higher productivity and efficiency, they mainly go to those who already have resources and access. This could lead to the rich getting richer. While those who are already struggling fall even further behind, we have to be intentional about making sure the benefits of AI are shared widely, and that its development is guided by fairness and inclusion.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about how we use it and who benefits from it. Sounds like we need some serious discussions about the ethical implications of AI and how to make sure it's used for good.
Exactly. AI is a powerful tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. It's our choice how we use it, and that takes a collective effort. We need to bring together different voices: policymakers, tech people, ethicists, social scientists, regular citizens. Everyone needs to help shape the future of AI.
So you're saying we all have a role to play in shaping this AI-powered future, that it's not just happening to us, but we can actively participate and influence it.
That's exactly it. People often feel like they don't have a say in how technology develops. But with AI, we have a chance to do things differently. We can demand transparency from those creating and using AI systems. We can push for regulations that protect our rights and make sure AI is used ethically. And we can choose to support companies that share our values.
So it's about making our voices heard. As consumers and as citizens, it's about holding those in power accountable and making sure AI serves humanity, not the other way around.
That's right. AI isn't some unstoppable force we just have to accept. It's something we created, and we can shape its future. The choices we make now will determine what kind of future we create.
That's a powerful message. And I think a lot of people need to hear that. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by how fast things are changing, but you're reminding us that we have power, that we can make a difference. Speaking of making a difference, let's talk about AI for good. There's a lot of talk about how AI can be used to solve some of the world's biggest problems. Is that just hype, or is there something real there?
I think AI has huge potential to do good in the world. Imagine using AI to develop cleaner energy, to personalize education for every kid, to speed up the discovery of new life-saving treatments. These are just a few examples of how AI can help us tackle some of humanity's toughest challenges.
That's inspiring. And I think it's something we
Yes.
can all get behind. But we got to be realistic, right? AI isn't some magic solution. It's not going to solve everything overnight.
You're right. We need to be careful about overhyping AI's potential. It's a powerful tool, but that's all it is, a tool. And like any tool, it can be used well or poorly. It's up to us to make sure AI is used responsibly and ethically, and that its benefits are shared widely.
So it's about finding that balance, recognizing AI's potential while being real about its limits, using AI to help us, not to replace us. But we can't ignore the risks either, can we? There are real concerns about how AI could be misused, about unintended consequences.
Of course, we need to be watchful about the potential downsides of AI. One of the biggest concerns is AI being used for harmful purposes. We need to think about how to prevent AI from being used to make autonomous weapons, or to spread misinformation, or to undermine privacy and civil liberties.
Those are some scary scenarios. What can we do to minimize those risks? How do we make sure AI is used for good, not for bad?
It's complicated and there's no easy answer, but it starts with recognizing the risks and having open and honest conversations about them. We need to develop safeguards and regulations that stop the harmful uses of AI. And we need international cooperation to make sure those safeguards actually work.
So it's not just about the technology, it's about the human systems and structures we create to guide its development and use. It's about making sure AI aligns with our values and serves the best interests of humanity.
You got it. AI isn't some natural force beyond our control. It's something we created, and we get to shape its destiny. The choices we make today will determine the kind of future we build.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been exploring the incredible advancements in AI, the different approaches to regulation from the US and EU, and the massive societal impacts we're already seeing. It's a lot to take in, and honestly, it's a bit overwhelming.
I understand that feeling. The speed at which AI is changing can be dizzying, but instead of feeling powerless, I think it's important to remember that we as individuals have agency in shaping this AI-powered future. It's not something that's happening to us. We have a role to play.
Okay, but where do we even begin? How can we as individuals actually make a difference in such a complex and ever-changing landscape? Feels like a huge task.
The first step, in my opinion, is awareness. We can't act effectively if we don't understand the issues. So take some time to learn about the different types of AI, the potential benefits and risks, and the things to consider in their development.
You're saying we need to do our research, go beyond the headlines, and really understand what's going on. Any suggestions for where people can start?
Absolutely. There are some great resources out there. Organizations like the Future of Life Institute, the AI Now Institute, and the Partnership on AI offer insightful reports, articles, and even online courses on AI and its implications.
Okay, that's a good starting point. Once we understand the landscape better, what's next? How do we go from just being aware to actually doing something?
One of the most powerful ways to make a difference is through our everyday choices as consumers. We vote with our wallets every day. Support companies that are open about their AI practices, companies that prioritize ethical considerations and user privacy.
So be conscious consumers. Think about the values built into the products and services we choose, not just the cool features.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of your voice. Talk about AI with your friends, family, and colleagues. Share your thoughts and concerns. Write to your elected officials and push for policies that promote responsible AI development.
So individual actions, when we all come together, can actually lead to real change.
I truly believe that. Remember, human decisions shape these technologies. The more we talk about these issues and make our voices heard, the more we can influence how AI develops and make sure it benefits everyone.
You mentioned AI for good earlier. How can we make sure the benefits of AI are shared widely? How do we make sure it's used to solve global challenges, not just benefit a few?
That's a crucial point. We need to shift the focus from AI just for profit to AI for progress. We need to support initiatives that use AI to create a more just and sustainable world. There are some incredible organizations doing amazing work in this area. Groups like AI for Good, DataKind, and the Center for AI and Global Governance are using AI to address some of the world's most pressing problems.
It's inspiring to hear about these initiatives, to see how AI can be used for positive change. But with all the excitement about AI's potential, I think it's important to stay grounded. Are we overhyping AI and setting ourselves up for disappointment?
It's a valid concern. We need to be realistic about what AI can do. It's not a magic solution that will solve all our problems overnight. AI is a powerful tool, but it's just that, a tool. It's up to us, all of us, to decide how we use it, to guide its development in a way that reflects our values and serves the best interests of humanity.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener. We're at a pivotal moment in history, on the edge of a technological revolution that will profoundly impact every part of our lives.
And it's a revolution that's still happening. The choices we make today, individually and collectively, will determine its course and shape the world we leave to future generations.
As we navigate this uncharted territory, let's remember that the future of AI is not set in stone. It's up to all of us to create a future where AI empowers humanity, where it fosters a more just and equitable world and helps us reach our full potential as a species. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you'll keep exploring these important issues, keep the conversation going, and help us shape a future where AI benefits everyone.